A tale as old as true crime time. The husband did it. In this case, the husband attempts a murder-for-hire plot instead of simply divorcing his wife like a normal person. But this case has a bit more. Love triangles, affairs, a sting operation, betrayal, fraud, and another twist I just did not see coming.
Welcome to Like Mother, Like Murder. I am Rachel.
And I'm Heather.
We bring you the good,
The badass,
and the crime.
This is Like Mother, Like Murder.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Like Mother, Like Murder, your favorite true crime momcast. I am Rachel.
And I am Heather. We're the hosts. And here on Like Mother, Like Murder, we bring you mom-related crime content weekly. From missing moms to murdered moms, moms who murder, survivors, and more.
To everyone who is returning, welcome back. We love having you guys here each and every week. And anyone who is new here, thanks for checking us out. That is our favorite thing ever. I wish we could check you out.
Yeah. And you know what? If you enjoy what you are hearing in your ear holes right now, please do not be shy. Reach out on our Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Let us know how you feel. Better yet, let us know how you feel in a nice rating or review wherever you get your podcast. So like on Apple, you can rate and review our podcast overall. And then I think on Spotify, you can actually leave a comment per episode.
On Spotify, on Spotify, you can go and chat with us and leave comments on all of them.
Yeah.
So if you're listening on Spotify, we would love to interact with you guys.
Love it.
Go ahead and comment there.
Yes.
I will come and I will talk back.
Yes.
And the other thing that I was going to say when you were saying that is we want you guys to be nice. If you're here and you're listening to us right now and you decide that we are not your cup of tea, that is fine. We are whiskey and you can go find someone else. Okay?
Yeah, that's fine. No, if you're going to provide feedback, I mean,
there's a way to do it productive if you think there's something you need to say. But
you know, if you want to come out and just say frogs, I don't know what to do with that. Like, I don't know. Is that a positive? Is that a negative? I was really at a loss on that comment and wasn't sure how to handle it, you know. The other thing is if you guys, just love us so much that you just need all the more us, we do have a subscriber option now where you will get not only ad-free episodes right here, but you will get additional content. So right now we have Doc Talk, where we watch the first episode of the John Benet Ramsey, the most recent one to come out. We are about to drop the second episode Doc Talk of that. And it's just good times. And with those too, because it's a lot more freeform, I feel like that one would thrive on some listener feedback, right? Because, what are your opinions, right? Like, we want to know.
It's like definitely, so we have a lot of open discussion and open conversation, and it's very inviting to know what you guys think or feel during that as well.
Heck yes. Heck to the yes.
I love that. Love it. You got anything as you go to take a sip of your tea? First of all, what are you drinking? Is it tea?
It's mint. It's minty tea. It has been. So first of all, what the fuck, 2025? You're crazy because it is day 7, and there's it's the wind here is redonkulous. It's so bad. There's a huge fire that broke out down across over the mountain, over the hill. It's kind of like right above Santa Monica, and it's there's a lot. I'm hoping this wind dies down because this is just not ideal.
No.
And so calm down, 2025. Just like calm it down.
Yeah,
You
calm
have
down.
like
That's what I was gonna
5
say.
inches of fucking snow on the ground.
Exact opposite.
Like, calm down, people.
I think I got 5 inches of snow.
It's insane.
I think that's what it was. Joel is the one who was like trying to see exactly what we got. But we definitely had some fun with the snow the first day. We went sledding and let me tell you, we were sore the next day, okay?
Girl, we are in our 30s.
Well, yes, I am turning 35
cannot be doing that.
in 3 days, and I should not be doing what I was doing. And at one point, my younger brother, he was out there, and he's just him, okay?
Yeah.
And so he goes and dives onto the sled.
Didn't he just fucking like break his ankle? What is he doing?
His knee. Yeah, his knee was so bad. So he dives onto this thing, and then like he gets to the bottom and he doesn't move. So I'm like, he's not okay. He's dead. He's broken. All of the things. And I get to the bottom and I'm like, are you good? And he stands up. He like knocked the wind out of himself. Thought he like broke a rib.
Oh my God, dude.
It was hilarious. But it's funny to see how like fires are not funny. Wind I can laugh at. But just how drastically different.
Oh, so different.
It is from here to there.
Completely.
Yeah, it is white out here, let me tell you.
It is wind out here, let me tell you. So
wow. I would say that I would trade you, but like we have the wind as well.
Yeah.
The wind chill.
I hate
it's like
the
makes
wind.
it -7.
Yeah. I will literally, I would prefer like snow probably, as long as it didn't come with the wind. I hate wind.
Yeah, we got both right now. And there's like tree limbs down all around my house because of it. It's pretty bad. Joel was like, I think we lost one of the squirrels' houses.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh no. And then he went out there and he said, no, he's fine. Because through our, like where our kitchen is, you can like see the squirrel that lives in one of the trees. So while we're doing dishes, we just get to like watch him.
Yeah.
It's the cool things to do out here in Kentucky, all right?
Yeah, that sounds like a riveting afternoon.
I just sit at my desk.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you can literally hear the wind right now. Can you hear it?
No.
Okay. Well, that's good.
You got that good sound system
I know.
going
Thank
on.
goodness.
Or it's these headphones that are so big, they just like trap everything else in. I love it. I think you got a case for me. Are you ready for that?
I have a case for you today. I'm so yeah, I have a case for you today, and I'm actually really surprised that I had not heard of this one. It's more of a recent case, and it is like perfectly up my alley. Like if you were to read this, you'd say Heather would cover this in a heartbeat. And in fact, I did. In fact, you did, and you are, and it will be. Before you do that, I did want to say, I know that I was transitioning and segueing into that, but we're not doing a shout out to a podcast today. So I want to take a second just to shout out anyone who takes the time to listen to us and like tunes in weekly or tells your friends about us. Like we truly do appreciate it so much. So to our listeners, we freaking love you guys. We love you. Shout
we
out,
love
listeners.
you guys. Love
Shout
you
out.
big time. Okay, love you. Bye. Okay, go ahead. Tell me this story.
All right, let's get into it. So Ira and Susan Bernstein, they met in college at Penn State at a fraternity party. They were both actually headed towards doctorate degrees. She was stuttering. Perhaps she stuttered, but in this case, she was studying for her doctorate in education, and he was trying for his doctorate in podiatry.
Okay.
That's a foot doctor.
They were stuttering, that's for sure.
They were stuttering and studying together. I had to double check what podiatry was. That's the feet, in case you didn't know.
It was funny. I was like, please don't like do a whole, all right, Rachel, do you know what it is before I continue?
Would you have known?
I feel like that's where my head was going, but then part of me probably would have second guessed it and been like, it can't be that easy.
For a second.
Because that's easy, right? But I was like, it can't be that easy. It's totally going to be something along the lines of like dinosaur fossils.
Thank you. Because like at first I'm like podiatry, and then you're like pterodactyl, but that actually...
I said pterodactyl.
That actually starts with a P. Yeah, it's, it's all messed up. But podiatry, that's where we're at. And so they were
smart. That's where we're at.
They were very smart, yes.
Yeah.
And they were seemingly happy. They eventually married in 2002 and had 3 beautiful children together. And luckily, Ira's podiatry practice was pretty successful. Very successful, and Susan actually became a stay-at-home mom for their 3 children.
Okay.
They were well-known, well-respected in the community, especially since his office was actually right across the street from the local police department. So they were friends, and he was friends, and he had a lot of patients who were on the force. And they were in a pretty affluent neighborhood. Business was good, so good that in addition to their very own mansion, and when I say mansion, 13,000 square foot house.
Yeah.
Pool, tennis
I
courts.
couldn't clean it. You'd have to have a cleaner.
Their own freaking lake with like a dock. Like, whoa.
About that life.
Yeah. Fairy tale, right?
Yes, please.
And then he was even able to invest in some real estate and had some pretty profitable rental properties. So they were doing well. Very well.
Okay, where do they live?
In New York.
In New York. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, you could get that here in Kentucky for $500,000, so come on over. No, not anymore. That's a joke. Everyone's like, no, you can't. Pretty close, though. But New York, that's
definitely more doable in Kentucky than where I live and or New York, but
absolutely.
We also are talking early 2000s, but still they were doing well. But as is the case often enough, the couple began to grow apart and they began to fight a lot. And as is also often the case, they fought a lot about money because they had it to fight about.
See, that's something you got to really think about. So many people think, like, you only struggle if you don't have it. Guess what? A lot of people struggle when they do have it. The grass is greener on all of the sides, and it's dead on all of the sides as well.
I feel like that's the thing, because it's like you have to find that little, like, happy middle ground where you're, like, comfortable and you can still do the things, but when things get too comfortable, it's just complacency and not good decisions, and it's one of those things.
You can want things and strive for more, but if you're not happy with what you have,
what's the point?
Having more is not going to make you happier.
It's not.
Nope.
And that's the thing, is Ira claimed that he worked day and night at his business to keep up with the rising cost of his business, and then also Susan's growing spending habits.
Gotcha.
So Susan and Ira, they continued fighting back and forth about money and about other women. Okay. So specifically, another woman named Kelly Gribalook.
What you doing, Kelly?
Kelly is all up in it.
All right.
And things continued to escalate. So there was definitely a love trial and triangle going on. So there's a whole Dateline episode about this case. And when you watch this Dateline episode, you really get the idea that this was kind of a back and forth, breaking up, separating, but Kelly and him and Ira would break up, and then like Susan and him would separate, but then like Susan and him would get back together, but he'd end up going back to Kelly, and then it was like a whole thing.
Just be single.
I mean,
Goodness
for real,
gracious.
guys. Like,
first of all, just don't cheat. Okay,
that's true.
If you're done with someone, be done. But
yes,
if you can't make up your mind,
like, just don't do anything. Like, just
stop stringing people along.
Keep to yourself. But Susan claimed that things were getting volatile with Ira going so far as even threatening and intimidating her. And then Ira claimed similar issues, saying that Susan's angry outbursts were causing him distress. So the whole thing was just not healthy, okay? No. And in 2014, Susan had had enough, so she filed for divorce. And it continued to be messy. So not only were there the children, obviously there are 3 children to think about, but Ira's business and all of the real estate properties, they all resulted in a very complicated and expensive, divorce proceedings.
Right.
So they continued to go back and forth about things, and then eventually in February of 2016, they suspend the divorce proceedings. And this was all kind of planned out because what they decided was Ira had agreed to sign over 4 of the really lucrative rental properties to Susan within 30 days. So, and I think as part of the thing, he would do that, and then they could continue on with the divorce and hopefully get things straightened out. So at this point, Ira is dealing with his expensive divorce, where he's now signing over some of his properties, but he's also being sued by multiple patients, multiple malpractice suits. And one thing I found said that during this time, kind of this 2015, 2016 time, those suits would result in payouts which would total over $2 million.
Man, what was going on?
Yeah. On top of that,
he's going through it.
He really was, because he was also under investigation for insurance fraud.
When it rains, it downpours.
And I feel like some of this, dude, I get as a doctor, you run the risk of being sued. Like, that's just, par for the course, I think. That. Yeah. But when you're having multiple happen at one time, I feel like that's, that's not just happening. And at the same time as you're being under investigation for insurance fraud, I think there's something wrong with your business model there, man.
Yeah, definitely, it seems to me like this is going in the direction that he played a part in everything that's going on. So I can't say when it rains it pours and feel bad for him if he chose not to bring an umbrella. Sorry, guys.
You knew the weather, sir.
He created the storm.
But through all of this, Ira was still seeing Kelly Gribeluk, right? She was a divorcee as well, with 3 children of her own. And they had kind of bonded over kind of the shared trauma experience of separation, divorce. And, they maintained their relationship. And somehow, through the crying on each other's shoulders, it wasn't enough, because it didn't take long for their pillow talk to turn to murder talk.
Oof. Oh, no.
See what I did
there?
Shoot,
I was kind of hoping that this was going to be one murderless episode.
We shall see.
What? Keep going.
Psst. Hey, everyone. It's just us in the middle of one of our own episodes. We have huge news we want to share with you all. We now have ad-free listening and bonus content.
Yep, you heard that right. We have a supporters club for exclusive VIP OG listeners like yourself.
Or if you just really hate ads, you can join us as well.
If you join the supporters club, you will get ad-free listening on every episode, 1 bonus episode each month, and a few other perks here and there.
You can find the link in the show notes to check it out.
All right, back to the episode.
We are going to get into kind of the goings on here. It wasn't out of the ordinary for Kelly, Ira's new girlfriend, to seek out a sympathetic ear when she was going through her own divorce. So she had done the same thing with a man named Markenzie Lusant. And tell me that's not the coolest name ever. Markenzie
Say it again.
Lusant.
Markenzie Lusant.
Yes.
Markenzie.
But I'm going to call him Mark.
Okay.
Even though Markenzie is a lot of fun to say.
How do you spell that?
Marckency. No, Ensy. Markenzie Lusant. Guess what his job is? And this just like completely fits his name.
He's... there's no jobs.
You froze.
That's where my brain just went. There's nothing out there.
Well, this will make total sense. He was a luxury car dealer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So when you want to go get your pimped out BMW or whatever, you go to Markenzie Lusant.
But do you? Is he still up? Okay.
So Mark, he had like a friendship with Kelly, and when she was going through her own divorce, her very messy divorce, she has her own whole story that I'm not going to get into, but it's pretty crazy as well. Mark had actually told her, look, if you need anything, I can help you out. Like I know people, I can help you out. And now to Mark, this meant that he had friends on the police force who, if she needed help with her ex, whatever, he could reach out to them because he had friends on the police force. Now, to Kelly, apparently, she took this a completely different way.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. Because one day, Kelly walks straight into Mark's office and asks him to, quote, get rid, end quote, of her boyfriend's wife.
Oh, man.
She literally said, again, was taken as a quote, take her out of the picture.
Was she thinking he was just going to lock her up for a crime? Is that what she meant?
Put her in the trunk of his car dealership cars.
Oh, my gosh.
She apparently completely misunderstood him when he said, I can help you. I know people who can help you. And it's so funny because it totally brings back Wanda Holloway vibes where, she reaches out to her, was it her ex-brother-in-law who had gone to, he had served, it was like theft and fraud and stuff. And she's like, oh, there's the man who knows how to find a hitman.
Right. Yep. No. And instantly he did the right thing and was like, absolutely not.
And that's exactly what Mark did as well. Yeah. So
okay,
Mark decided,
Mark.
that's not, no. And he went straight to the cops. But not before he kind of led her on. Oh, shit. I want to see where this is going. Like, is she being for real?
I was going to say to see how serious.
Yeah, he kind of puts on his undercover accomplice informant hat. And he said, and if you watch the Dateline episode, he's like, look, I hang out with a lot of cops. So it's kind of just this thing I decided to do. But she seems to be pretty serious. He goes straight to the police. And they are like, all right, we're going to roll with this. We're going to see where this goes. And he soon becomes this kind of undercover informant accomplice for the police to help them start collecting evidence over a month-long investigation by installing hidden cameras in Mark's car. And it would record the couple's conversations with Mark about these, quote, take her out of the picture, quote, ideas.
Ooh, child.
Yeah. So they had several, like I said, this was over the course of the month. And there was like several meetings between Mark and Kelly. And the secret recordings, they caught Kelly saying things like maybe they could set up a car crash, do like a hit and run, that make it look like an accident because they didn't want it to be violent, like a robbery or a shooting. Maybe they could figure out a way to like have a witness stay behind and just say, yeah, it was an accident. And Kelly even tried to garner some sympathy, saying that her boyfriend was just feeling so bad about the plan, that he felt, so guilty about it, that he didn't want to leave his kids without a mother, but, he still has to just do this.
He didn't know, did he? Oh, no. Okay.
Well, we'll see. So eventually, I love the way your brain works because it's exactly like how things are going.
Funny too. Well, so I was thinking about one of the cases. Gosh, I cannot remember her name. Maybe it was the Bahama one where she had ended up going to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
But whatever like text messages were exchanged in that case.
Yeah.
It was like you can be kind of like play devil's advocate maybe.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you just get so mad that you're like, gosh, I just want to kill him.
Right.
That kind of a thing. Where in this case, she's saying it over and over in many different ways, definitely planning, plotting, all of those things. There is no possibility of like...
She's not for real in this situation. Yeah. So eventually, Mark and Kelly, they would discuss the price for killing Susan. Nonchalantly just negotiating the price of her life from $200,000 down to $100,000 with, get this, a refundable $2,000 deposit. Refundable. Like, it's just so grotesque. You're literally talking about killing another human being, and you're like, well, can I get a refund on the deposit if I change my mind? Like, get the fuck out of here. This isn't like a fucking... You're not, like, booking a fucking band or something for your wedding, dude.
Wow. This girl's something else.
I mean, yeah. And so remember, this whole time, the police are in on this. They're there when the conversations are happening. They're listening in real time. And the way that, Kelly is talking about it, it's pretty clear to them that, look, there's someone else involved in this. This is not just Kelly coming out and saying, like, kill my boyfriend's wife for us. Like, she talks about him like he's feeling guilty about it. She talks about, oh, should I tell him that the $2,000 is refundable? This is literally all on video, right?
Wow.
So what they want to do is they want to make sure that they also have this concrete evidence against whoever it is, and at this point they're guessing that it's Ira, right? Kind of pulling the strings behind the curtain. Okay. And eventually they were able to catch on video Ira showing up to one of the meets with Kelly, and they would meet with Mark, the undercover informant, both of them in person, and they would catch Ira as well on video saying very incriminating things like, when should this occur? Oh, it should be ASAP. I'll let you know this weekend, kind of thing.
Yeah. All right.
Guilty
as.
Definitely, yeah. And as if that wasn't enough, as if, like, hiring a hitman to murder your wife, because they're still not divorced, the wife, the mother of his 3 children, if that wasn't enough, Ira also wanted Mark to, quote, take care of to insurance investigators.
Oh my gosh.
So if you remember, right, in addition to all the divorce stuff that he was dealing with, the lawsuits from his former patients, like the malpractice suits, he was being investigated for insurance fraud. So basically what they believed he had been doing was kind of like overcharging for things to insurance and then like pocketing, right? So like insurance fraud. And so, Ira, apparently being the businessman that he is, figures, hey, now's a good time as any. Let's just take out 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah.
And he
like a buy 2 get 1 free situation just there. Like, what?
And probably a little bit of like a tryout, because at this point he doesn't want these 2 insurance guys killed, but he wants them messed up so badly that they can't continue work on the case that would be his insurance fraud case. So when the police hear this, what they do is they bring in those 2 insurance investigators and they start, asking them about it. And what they come to the conclusion of how to do this is they basically stage a fake assault. They bring in like a makeup artist and make it look like they get beat up. They take pictures And this is, I mean, this is crazy. They have pictures of people punching these insurance agents in the face, and like, it's crazy. And then they got pictures of them all bloody and like walking away limping, all disheveled, as if they got assaulted. Mark eventually shows these pictures to Ira. You know, here's your proof. You know, we did what you asked, da 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 da. And a few days after Ira is apparently happy with that performance, Mark and Kelly meet up again, and she confirms you have the go-ahead on Susan. They confirm the plan. They confirm the payment and all of that. And this was the last piece of concrete evidence that the police needed.
Wow.
Yeah. So in May of 2016, police arrest Ira and Kelly, and they charge them with multiple counts of conspiracy and solicitation for murder.
Yes, they do.
They also, and I was like, this is really smart. Of course, eventually it's going to come out, but when they arrested Kelly, they brought her in, and in one of the cells, they had put Mark, like, handcuffed, like he had gotten caught too, trying to, you know, keep his cover intact, which I thought that's a good move.
I love that.
Yeah. And they bring in Ira, and during his interrogation, he seemed way more concerned about the publicity of this arrest getting out, what it would mean for the future of his practice. Just all the things you should be concerned about when you're literally being arrested for conspiracy to murder your wife.
He never had his ducks in a row in the first place, so it's not like this guy's going to start now.
Like, come on, man. One article that I read, too, that I was like, wow, is that... So you know how... So he was arrested in May of 2016. February of 2016 was when he was supposed to transfer over those properties to Susan. One thing I read was that those very properties that he was supposed to transfer over to Susan as part of the divorce, he instead tried to put those up as collateral for his bail.
Oh, my gosh.
So just a real stand-up guy here. Yeah. Luckily, like, that didn't fly, and his family had to put up bail for him. But when all is said and done, they tell Susan about this after the fact. They tell Susan, you know, we've arrested your husband and da-da-da-da-da. And her response is, and this is a quote, "Actually, I'm not shocked." Which is just, like, so sad.
It is so sad. It's so sad, but... She knew. She knew. And thankfully, there wouldn't be this long, drawn-out court proceeding for this, obviously pretty clear-cut case. So Kelly, the girlfriend, she would plead guilty to 3 counts of conspiracy in September of 2016. And then a few months later, in early 2017, Ira pled guilty to 1 felony count of second-degree conspiracy for the plot to kill Susan, as well as 2 misdemeanor counts of 5th-degree conspiracy for the assault on the insurance investigators, right? Right.
So both of these criminals were sentenced in May of 2017. You want to guess how much time they got?
She got... How much they got or how much they actually served?
You see, okay, so I have both those numbers. So you guess for both.
So I think that she was given...
And remember, they pled
10
guilty.
years.
So, okay, 10 years. And how long did she serve?
She served 2.
Okay. What about him?
He was given... 15 and... serve 2.
You are really freaking Rachel. This is how good we've been getting. So you were pretty damn close. So Kelly got 12 years. You said 10. She got 12, and she actually ended up serving 4 of those years. Okay. She would be, and that was the thing. She would be eligible for parole in 4. He was given 15, just like you said. But he got parole after 5.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good job, Rachel.
Thank you.
And then get this. So there was a little back and forth during the trial because at one point they thought they were going to be able to flip Kelly. And of course, probably give her lighter sentencing if she copped to some more of this. A lot of that ended up not working out because when she made it out on bail, she actually went to go live with him. And they realized, she's a ride or die. She's not gonna see, she's not the best one to flip. But despite all of her seemingly, staying true to her man here, in January of 2018, so right after they were sentenced, Ira wanted to try to vacate his guilty plea by claiming that Kelly actually coerced him into pleading guilty to benefit her own sentence.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gosh, this guy's... what the fuck? He's something. He's something. See, before you even started getting into this, I was also, on my mind thinking about how people are given sentences.
Mm-hmm. They
don't serve their sentences.
Yep.
And then Susan's out there just thinking, okay,
yeah.
I just gotta look over my shoulder every 2 seconds.
Right.
Obviously, there's no, reform in that time.
Yeah.
They don't... so frustrating.
Yeah, and she gave an impact statement during the sentencing, which I'll get into in a bit, but she talked about how this guy, he's a psychopath. He planned this stuff out, and it's not okay. One thing I read too is apparently they had a special needs daughter, and she said by him trying to plan out doing a hit and run with me, what would happen to our daughter who, really relied on her.
He's heartless.
Yeah. Just completely.
That's ridiculous.
Completely heartless. And so when I was researching this, I read a bunch of articles about it. And then, I was like, okay, there's a whole ass Dateline about it. I watched the Dateline, and they actually did interviews with Kelly and with Ira. So they attempted to reach out to Susan. Susan didn't want to do it, which... You're entitled to your own privacy, and, if this is something you don't want to think about, by all means. But they actually, while Kelly and Ira were out on bail, they did this Dateline interview, and they seem very remorseful. They said some shit, which I'm not even going to repeat because I completely don't believe it. But at the end of the day, they did seem remorseful. Ira's even... tearing. He's got tears. He's going to spend the rest of his life trying to make it up to his... he's got 3 kids that he tried to murder their mom.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
It's a big fucking deal. And he's, remorseful and, no. But get this, Rachel.
Oh, my gosh. They do something else?
Are you ready for this?
What? No way.
So they were sentenced... Remember, they're sentenced back in 2017 with eligibility for parole in 4 to 5 years. Kelly's released in May of 2021. She has written off Ira. Good job, Kelly. Get that man out of your life. You don't need him in your life.
Good.
But, she's let out. She's like, fuck it, that guy's gone. Ira's released a few months later in July of 2021. Now listen to this headline.
Oh...
From The Independent in June of 2023. So we're talking a few years after he was released and just over 7 years after he was originally arrested for plotting to murder Susan. Here's the headline. You ready?
Yes! I'm sitting on the edge of my seat. Read it. Or send it to me.
Former doctor charged over alleged second plot to have wife murdered.
What is he doing?
So clearly all the remorse, the tears that you shed in that Dateline video.
Obviously not real. Everyone knew.
You clearly are not that remorseful because you clearly have not learned your lesson to not do it again.
So he was given a life sentence without parole.
Well, here's the thing. And
he
now
was
everything
given a life sentence without parole is what I'm telling you right now.
So now, but I really need to say this right now, because at this point, he has been indicted, but there's been, and he's pled not guilty. So at this point, there's been no, trial, no conviction. We're still waiting on, the trial with all the evidence. So all of the things I'm about to say, I'm going to say allegedly.
So, sorry. He allegedly was given life without parole?
Okay. So according to the indictment, in the summer of 2022, so about a year after he was released from prison for the first murder-for-hire plot against Susan, that he served his 5 years for of his 15-year sentence, he again allegedly solicited the murder of his wife, Susan, because at this point their divorce has still not been finalized. And he tried
I feel so bad for her. Oh my gosh.
I know. And he tries to destroy the evidence of it. And he
tries to destroy the evidence of his second attempt?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So, he had allegedly solicited the murder, and then allegedly tried to destroy the evidence that he had done that.
He didn't go to Markenzie this time.
No, he did not.
Thank God. Just keep selling your cars.
He did go to the wrong person, though, because
okay,
I believe the person that he went to is now a witness for the prosecution, I believe, if this does go to trial. And then get this. You ready?
Yeah, what did he do?
This time, he had an accomplice. So last time he had Kelly. This time, it's not a girlfriend, but his sister.
There's 2 psychopaths in the family? What? Allegedly? No.
So,
no.
Jacqueline Goldberg is his sister, and she's a lawyer. And she was also indicted.
Okay, Markel, what? not him, but that
case,
the family being absolutely
the Adelsons?
Crazy.
Yeah,
yes,
the Adelsons.
Thank you, and my bad, because
isn't this giving Adelson vibes? Yeah.
Yes. Ugh.
So, both Ira and his sister Jacqueline, they pled not guilty in June of 2023 to the various charges, including criminal solicitation, tampering with physical evidence, conspiracy, obviously, and then hindering a prosecution. If convicted, Ira could serve another 7 years for the things that he has done so far.
Okay, that's not enough. If he's convicted, that's not enough, okay?
Well,
part of me, I try to think of it, and none of this is okay, right? So as my brain goes off right now, please, you guys, bear with me. My brain is allegedly at this point, but even if he was to get out, him and his sister are close, and he's texting her man, you ought to do it for me this time, as if it's some big joke. That's no remorse. That's there's nothing that he learned. He's still sick, nasty, horrible
and this
person.
Is,
how you said he has 3 children and he's saying this again.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
So 7 years?
Yeah.
Okay. Who do I talk to? Because no.
Well, and to think that there's literally, and I don't want to get political on you guys or whatever, but think about the fact that there's literally people in jail for possession for longer fucking sentences. Right. For theft. They stole a fucking car or something. Didn't even hurt anybody.
Actually stole the car. This guy didn't actually do it.
Yeah. This is ridiculous.
This is ridiculous. Oh my gosh.
And so I'm hoping that this is one of those cases that I'll be able to provide updates on. But unfortunately, right, this was a year and a half ago at this point when the indictment occurred, when they both pled not guilty. And if you Google, so I was well, what's the latest? That's a year and a half ago. What the fuck is going on? If you Google Ira Bernstein for anything in the last year, for anything and I just let you limit that shit to 2024, you know what pops up?
No.
He started a scholarship for healthcare students.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't, Heather. Stop.
And the thing is, he got his license revoked back in like 2021 after all this shit went down. Probably because of the insurance fraud fucking too and all the malpractice
suits. This is a whole nother.
He got his license fucking revoked. But he has, Rachel, he has a whole ass website. He set up this scholarship for healthcare students. On the website, it's saying how he's this like, you know, renowned podiatrist with decades in the field and na. And I'm like, you've got to be joking. And I mean, okay, maybe reform is, whatever. But giving money to students for school, I guess, is better than giving money to people for murder. I mean, that's a positive in the right direction.
Yeah, that's a positive. But you know that he's getting whatever money that's... No, one's getting it. He's whack. What? I just used the word whack on our podcast, Heather.
But that is, I mean, that's a perfect word to encapsulate all the goings on.
I'm looking at his face. I couldn't wait for you to be done.
Well, and this is the thing, when I Googled it, so it's like Ira Bernstein, it's not, I mean, I'm not saying it's like the most common name in the world, but like, there could be multiple people named that. So I'm like, well, this can't possibly be the same fucking guy. Maybe there's more than one Ira Bernstein, podiatrist from New York, but they blast his fucking picture up on the scholarship page, and I'm like, oh, that's him.
That is wild. Okay.
Yeah.
See, and no one wants to go and be like, sorry, you can't do that, because then they're on the hit list.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then on the other hand, I'm like, fuck
on the hit list now.
Take his money. I'm like, take his money, man. Like that's fine. So, but let's circle back. Let's draw this in. Let's bring this back to the victim, the survivor in all of this, Susan.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So, in her impact
statement,
statement,
out of it, and she knew,
and she fucking knew. It did not surprise her. Nope. And you'll see, she's actually, I mean, this is actually she's pretty legit. So in 2017, when they were getting sentenced, she gave an impact statement, and she spoke actually on the history of domestic violence during their marriage. So I mentioned before that he used a lot of intimidation, that he used a lot of threats. And she actually stated that at one point he even told her it would be cheaper to kill you than get a divorce. Which is like, wow, man, that's just really something you should be telling the mother of your children. So she told the court how it was obviously very clear that this was planned out. It wasn't simply a spur of the moment, him not thinking straight kind of situation, which is what if you watch Dateline, he, along with the tears, that obviously didn't mean a whole lot of remorse because he went and did it again. You know, the way that he explains it, he kind of felt like, oh, it's like I had no other choice and I wanted to stop, but I just couldn't, kind of thing. But Susan said, and this is a quote, "He is the scariest type of criminal, smart with no remorse," end quote. Luckily, he's not that smart because he keeps getting caught. Luckily. But
she's right. And then it's like, it's sad because the way that he's out and he's able to do the things that he's doing right now is people get away with these kind of things.
Like the fact that Susan has to walk around in her daily life knowing that this man has tried to put a hit out on her twice.
Yeah, we're not doing
and he's still out and about with resources, with money. Like, that's insane. So Susan, though, luckily, she doesn't let that get her down. She doesn't stop with just justice for herself. She's continued to campaign for tougher penalties for conspiracy murder convictions, right?
Yes.
So one thing I read, and this is insane to me, and I tried to look this up, and it all kind of depends, but like conspiracy, right, is one thing. And then you can get conspiracy first degree, second degree, third degree, blah, 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 based on how serious the crime, like the crime that you plan on committing is. So like, For instance, like the conspiracy charge he got for planning to murder his wife was more a higher degree or a lesser degree, depending on how you look at it, because first to second, whatever, than when he just when conspiracy to assault and just harm the two insurance agents. But one thing I read is that in the state of New York, conspiracy to commit murder, just the conspiracy charge, obviously, if it doesn't ever go through, can be considered a nonviolent crime with as little as a 1-year sentence. Because if it's just conspiracy and it doesn't actually go anywhere, no one actually got hurt. But I'm like, I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, I'm sorry, what? And so what you're telling me is Susan is in the works to change those laws
She is
right
trying
now?
to get
We
stricter,
love Susan.
right.
Okay.
She's advocating for stricter sentencing for this. And I mean, at this point, this is the 4th conspiracy kind of solicitation of murder case that I've covered. I think this is, like the 4th one I've covered. These people...
That's bananas. That's bananas that you said.
Even if the crime never gets committed because it was a sting operation or they got caught before they could pull it off, like, it could have happened, right? Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So she advocates for stricter sentencing for that. And on top of that, Susan is now a divorce coach. And she offers, and I didn't know this was a thing, but it totally makes sense. I mean, this is a situation, divorces, they're already messy. They can be a lot messier depending on the circumstances. And so she offers her services to other women and families who are just wanting to get out of that toxic relationship with a focus on putting the children first.
Love it.
And one thing I read is, she specializes in what it's like to go through a divorce with the added difficulty of not only having kids, but having a kid with special needs that, that adds a whole other layer there. So she offers her services there. And then on top of that, and I'm like, yeah, Susan, you get it. So in July of 2023, right around the same time, right, that they were indicted, that Ira and his sister were indicted for allegedly conspiring to kill Susan again. Susan filed a civil lawsuit against the two of them, against Ira and his sister. And again, all allegedly, but according to the lawsuit documents, Ira tried to have drugs planted in her car. And then, of course, allegedly, he also planned to have Susan killed. Again, allegedly. And then, allegedly, him and his sister tried to cover it up. So she is taking them to court, as well as, I think, the way I understand it, and I'm obviously by no means a legal expert, but she's also suing the law firm that the sister works for because she was kind of using, I guess, her, I don't know, somehow connected to the law firm as a whole, because she's a partner at that law firm. The sister is. So that was all, and that's all a year and a half ago. The latest thing, like I said, is he's trying to give money to students, which I'm like, someone should get your money.
No, and the students need it. Like,
the students need it. Hell yeah.
Students getting the money. But I don't love the thought that you're out getting to do things that you think that you want to do because your thoughts aren't good and what you want to do is not good.
Clearly, your judgment is flawed. 32
wrongs don't make a right, friend. Like, no. Shit. That is bizarre, Heather.
But yeah.
Every single time you open your mouth, I was, huh? Like, what do you mean there's more?
I'm telling you the twists. And I was putting this research together and I'm reading and I kept getting confused because I'm like, no, wait, what? But it was so confusing because, like, it happened twice. And so trying to, like, wait, they were like, oh, this comes after the 2015 one. And I'm like, wait, what? And so I'm, like, reading and trying to, like, it was insane. And the Dateline episode. So I did all this research that I could, and then I went and watched the Dateline episode, and it was so funny because, it's not funny, Susan. I'm not trying to make light of your situation. Like, you go, girl. And I'm sorry that you probably have to live your day to day thinking, well, when's the next fucking time? Because you expected it the first fucking times. But this dude, he goes on Dateline. He decides, I'm going to tell my story for whatever reason, garner sympathy. I don't know. But
because narcissistic psychopaths want to have their face out there.
He even's like, oh, you know, there were some days where I hoped it was a sting because then no one would actually get hurt or whatever. I'm like, or you could have just said no. Like
you had options,
what the hell? But they did the whole thing, and they talk about how he was convicted. And then, you know, Dateline, they're pretty good at it. The last, like, minute or so, they updated, they had an update on the case, and it was the fact that, well, he served his 5 years, and he, again, was indicted in 2023 because he tried it again. And you're just like, yeah, that is the case. That is the case of Susan and Ira Bernstein.
Shout out to Susan. So, Susan, when you talk about her, I love everything that she is doing.
Yeah.
All that she's doing now. My heart hurts that she had to go through that, especially, like, when you talk about her kids. And
yeah.
I couldn't imagine how hard that would be for someone without kids to deal with the fact that your husband is trying to,
for sure,
you know,
for sure,
for hire situation,
yeah,
times 2.
Yep,
like,
yep.
And then you have children with this person,
yeah,
and it happens like that. It's bizarre. So I hate that for her, and I'm so glad she is doing so many things for other people right now.
Oh, she's an advocate.
Beautiful,
like
beautiful.
if you,
I love that.
She has a website with her divorce coach, and then she speaks, she advocates, she talks, you know, about it, and you can tell that she's really just trying to. And we talk about it a lot, how, you know, there's a lot of times these really positive things come out of these really horrible situations,
right,
and
right.
She definitely took her experiences and said, yeah, I'm not going to sit on this. We're taking this to the next level. And, you know, it obviously when you get someone who can walk you through such a difficult time, and they themselves, not only, you know, are you trained in the ins and outs of all the legal shit that probably has to go on, but you've been through a situation yourself where things got so messy and you came out of it a stronger person, someone who's looking to help others. You know, that's really a testament. And it really, you know, you can imagine that her clients, who she offers her services to, you know, they know that she's coming at this from a position of experience, right? Having dealt with this to the extreme level to which she had to deal with
right.
it. So,
yeah. I love when you cover stories like this, bring cases like this. I feel like, you know, I do so much heavy.
You do.
And you do too, and you
I
do them
yeah.
justice, and you do them well, you know, and I love anytime you come on here and tell me a story, but when you bring these when there is not a murder,
yes.
You know, that
it makes it a little, and I was searching for one that I was like, I need to go light. I need to kind of
see, but light, but still so serious.
Oh, for real.
So
yeah.
And that's why when I say life, like what?
Yeah.
What? Allegedly life? Okay.
Yeah.
We don't want to say that the lightness of this episode, like, makes
let's say just like
whatsoever.
Relatively compared to some of the, you know, the other topics that we obviously have covered.
This mom is home with her babies.
Thank goodness.
And that's what matters right there.
Exactly.
So,
and it obviously it could have not been that way, right?
Right, exactly.
So, I mean, and this is if you watch the Dateline episode, this is an instance where you really commend the detectives because they knew him on a personal level. They were like, we were patients of his. He was the podiatrist for the entire police force. So there was this part where they're like, they're at the because I guess where the meetups kept happening between Kelly and Mark and even Ira and Mark, who, again, shout out to fucking Mark. Hell yeah. Get yourself, Mark Kinsey. He was like in this like Walmart parking lot, and the cops, whenever there was a meetup, these detectives would go so that they could hear live like what was happening, which is probably a good thing, because if something goes wrong, you know, they want to be able to protect their informant.
Close enough.
But they were like, at one point Ira shows up and we're like, shit, he's gonna recognize us, and he's gonna be like, what are you two doing here? And it's just like, this is definitely one of those situations too where the investigators, they were smart, they did the right thing. Like the idea of bringing in the insurance agents and being like, all right, we're gonna stage it, we're gonna bloody you guys up.
I want to work on that.
Like seriously, it was really, really, really good police work, and shout out to Mackenzie. Oh my gosh! So this is this part, and this is the last thing I'll say, because you guys really just should go watch the Dateline episode. Of course, I'll put it in the show notes. But at one point, Mackenzie's in the car with Ira, and Ira is, you know, a little bit suspicious, obviously. Like, how do I know you're legit? Do I know that you're not involved with the cops? And he looks behind him and stares directly at the frickin' hidden camera, Rachel. Wow. And goes, what is that?
What?
Yeah. And Mackenzie, fucking quick on his feet, he goes, oh, that's because it's one of those luxury cars. It has screens in the back of the headrest for the second row.
Oh, okay.
And he goes, oh, that's like the thing where the kids can plug in their games or whatever so they can play it on the screen. Plays it off like a straight up G.
Good.
Like
so
this guy
amazing.
is like, and I'm like, damn, son. And he just like played it off so well. And I was like, this guy, he should win a freaking Grammy, or what do they give to actors? Emmy, Oscar, whatever the hell, because this man just pulled that shit off on the fly, and he was so good at it. And it was pretty amazing. So that's such a good so they told the story really well, and definitely go watch it. It'll be in the show notes.
Yeah. There it is. You guys, Heather just brought a case that in this episode, I said whack. She said like a G, and then said fly, son.
It's 2025, but we're bringing it back. We're bringing it all the way back.
Oh my God.
Are we showing our age when we say shit like that?
I had a tear when you said like a G.
Do you remember? I'm sorry, I keep hitting my mic because I'm laughing. Do you remember? I mean, it had to have been like one of those random nights where we're out driving around at like 10 at night, and we're listening to Snoop, and we like just driving around Lancaster at 10 at night. We pull up, your car's freaking banging. There was a car right next to us, and you know, you've got two like teenage girls like out like, and like with our music up, and like we look over, and then it's just like these two guys that roll down their window like, hey, and I'm like, drive. God.
No.
You don't remember.
No, but I'm sure that I had many nights like that.
Oh God, it's so good. It's so good.
That is so funny. Fun stuff.
Yeah.
All right. There you guys have it. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
And also, when you do the show notes, put the information for Susan Bernstein, because
for sure. Yeah, no, I have her website in the in my notes. I will definitely link it as well in the show notes. She's pretty badass, you guys. Like, it's pretty amazing that a woman who's at this point twice, alleged once, whatever you want to say, had a hit out on her freaking life, and she's like, I'm not gonna let that stop me from helping other people in my situation. So
hear me roar.
Hell yeah.
Love it. All right, we will talk to you guys next week, next Tuesday. In the meantime, if you guys want to check out an episode, we are going to be on an amazing podcast. We get to go and be on a podcast that I've been listening to them for so long. We got to meet them in person at CrimeCon.
They're the sweetest.
They are the best. Trevin and Amanda over at Live, Laugh, Larceny, and we are going to be joining them.
I'm excited. I'm like super duper excited for it. And you guys, we've talked about them before, but their podcast is a little different. It's petty true crime told in a very innovative storytelling, hilarious, yes, dramatized way, but in all the best way. I think I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about one of their episodes is the guy who, he threw a sandwich at the subway worker or something.
Sounds about right. I can't even keep up. There's so many insane stories. I swear, I don't even know where they find all of these things.
I don't either.
And then they take the insane and they make it 1,000 billion times more crazy.
They make it so funny. Yeah. They're so funny. So I'm super duper excited to guest it up on their show. So yeah, if you guys haven't ever listened to Live, Laugh, Larceny, go check them out. They're hilarious, and you'll be able to hear us on there soon. So
yep, go and do that. All right, we will talk to you guys next week. Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
What?
Already for it?
That's crazy. I'm like, dude, you can read that again, and I would still miss something that you're about to tell me.
Oh, it gets so good.
Wowzers. All right.
Do me. You ready?